Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water and I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture.
And welcome to Food for Thought.
Food for Thought.
Okay, I'm Deirdre Anderson. I'm with Delish Catering, off-premise catering business in Hunterdon County. Joined here today by you're my co-host, Rob.
I seem to be your co-host quite often, actually.
We're joined here, this is very exciting, we're joined here by Mark Drabick from Metropolitan Seafood. Mark?
Hello, how are you today?
Fine, thanks.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great to have you. Mark has an awesome, in case you haven't been to the new location, he had moved his smaller shop in Clinton, and now is on Route 22. Is it Lebanon?
In Lebanon, yes. We actually, next week, will be celebrating 25 years in business.
Nice.
So our first location was 450 square feet, and now we're just shy of 5,000 square feet. So
Very
it's
nice.
and we've included everything along with the fish, cheeses, breads, gourmet items. Because we're in Lebanon and I'm Lebanese, we have a lot of Arabic items. Kind of my homage to my heritage.
Right.
That's interesting. Is that why you picked Lebanon?
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
Beautiful.
I saw the vision of a Bedouin farmer going back to his homeland. It just worked out that way, but it's been phenomenal, and I love it there. We just celebrated 2 years in our new location, and it's just been extraordinary. But
I got a Facebook message today from a friend of mine who said that she worked for you. I had no idea you started at the Lobster Dock.
Yes, when I was a kid, I worked at the Lobster Dock.
Okay.
When I was I was 14 years old.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
what now? Are we the same age?
You're 32. You look fantastic.
All right. You know what, Mark?
I'm just shy.
Okay, you'll definitely be back on the
So
show.
we're about the same age.
Probably
because
next week.
I remembered I moved from Brooklyn to Belle Meade.
Okay.
And so Hillsborough was right there. And I
That's
remember
right.
going to the Lobster Dock, but I remember thinking, I must have been really young. I must have been like 12, 13, 14 years old. Because
it was there for a long time. It's no longer there. My brother and sister actually took that store over and ran it for about 25 years.
Okay.
My brother just really didn't really feel much like doing it anymore. And then I begged him and pleaded him to come work with us.
Okay.
And it's been fantastic having him there and along with our other staff. So just being what we do as fishmongers is something that I wear as an embarrassing patch of pride, because there's not many of us left. I mean, and a lot of times I'll be incensed with my younger workers, not realizing what they are. I said, "You're a fishmonger." I said, put it on your application. You know what I mean? Because this is what we do, and there's not many of us that do this craft, like a butcher, where it's done in-house, as we say, the slow and stupid way. But it's worked for us.
Yeah, the supermarkets have taken over.
Well, they haven't taken over in my line of work as far as real fish, as far as breaking it down. But it's just, listen, there's avenues to buy it everywhere. But we just do it a different way, in a way that is steeped in heritage and technique and just relationships. Buying fish is one relationship after the next, from our customers to where I buy it at the Fulton Fish Market.
Now, let me mention that I have been into the new location, and it's a swanky spot. I mean, in the way it has the aesthetic of kind of, the beautiful floors and the lighting is good, and it feels. I think you should have events there because it's such a cool place.
It took me 3 years to build it.
Okay.
We had some tumultuous experiences, and I did a lot of adult thumb sucking, that's when you take your thumb and put it in a bottle of scotch, and then and little by little you finish the bottle. But so we kind of figured that if we were going to move, we might as well make it beautiful. And our old location was great, but by the end, we were really trying to distract your vision from the breaking tiles off the floor.
Yeah, it wasn't beautiful.
It wasn't.
The last
it
location.
Wasn't, no. I mean, the fish was
Have
sexy.
you been to the last location, Rob? The small.
I remember
shop?
the previous location, absolutely.
Yeah,
But you haven't been to the new one?
No, but you've passed it.
No, it's hot.
You should.
And we do events there, just so you know.
You do? Okay, I didn't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, the first event I actually did there was for Robert Wise when we were friends, and he kept making fun of me, how long this was taking, and so on and so forth. So we had an event there for the hospital, and I said, just bring your A list, and I'm going to throw a cocktail party for you, and it's going to be on me. And I said, but I'm going to make a catch, but I don't want to tell you about it right now. So we get to the event, and Robert's like, so what's the catch? I go, you can't ask for money. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you can't ask any of your guests for money. Just tell them that we're here to enjoy and he was like, oh my God, you're killing me. No, but we did that. We had a great party, and we do events there. There's little pop-up events that we do, because it's
a wide open space in the middle, so it's like,
yeah,
it's very conducive to.
Well, we need that space for when it gets busy, but for events, I mean, I just did one of my dear friend's birthday parties there.
Oh, cool.
I mean, what a funky space. And at night, there's no fluorescent lighting, so it's all quite warm.
That's what I like. Maybe that's what I liked about the lighting.
Yeah.
I remember being in there and feeling comfortable. And usually when I go into fluorescent just doesn't do it for me. It makes me uneasy.
Right. Yeah, this was all canned lighting, and so it does give a definite effect. But it's been fantastic. I mean, I'm embarrassed with the wealth of patronage that we've had, and that people get it, that we can go and buy to the Fulton Fish Market and buy whatever I love, and people just say, so what did you bring me, Mark? I mean, just for example, today we brought in, we haven't had it in a year, Chilean sea bass. I
love Chilean sea bass.
Well, that might sound, you say, why? What, it took you a year to get it, Mark? Well, about 99.9% of it comes into this country frozen.
Right.
So, I finally found a guy after a year that will bring it in fresh.
Wow.
Okay, I want to talk more.
Go ahead, please.
I want to talk more about that coming up.
Yeah.
Because we have to go to break. But also, Mark, one of the traditions that I do on the show, and I don't do it every week because now I'm running out of stories. I know you do a lot of catering.
Yes.
And you have for many years, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so I want you to think during the break, what was your worst nightmare catering experience?
Absolutely.
Don't say it now.
I won't.
I'm sure he's got more than one.
He better.
No,
because when you said to me, "Oh, really, nothing's ever gone wrong," I'm going to have to slap you.
No, but I'm going to cry a little bit when someone's going to have to hold me. Are you going to hold me? Yes.
I'll hold you. No problem.
All right. So we will be coming right back.
Te estoy mirando a la cara, te encuentro alegre en los ojos de darte una serenata, mamita, mira mi antojo y dice, mueve la cadera.
And welcome back to Food for Thought. Let's talk about the Chilean sea bass again.
Yeah,
because I'm fascinated that you can get it fresh. And how much is it?
It's very expensive.
Okay.
It retails for over $30 a pound.
Right. Well, I expected to hear that.
But it's not, and ironically, it's not one of those things where the frozen is terrible. And please I don't want to mislead anybody.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's just that, why would you come to us? You didn't come to us to get frozen fish. You came for us to get a fresh fish. That's why we've always never carried it unless we could get it fresh.
And even the frozen stuff is it's up there.
Oh, it's absolutely expensive.
18.
Oh, no. Much more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's into the 20s. Well into the 20s.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it has a very fatty, unctuous quality.
I love. It seems like it was easier to get it fresh years and years ago.
Absolutely, it was.
10 years ago.
Oh, no. Like 15 years ago.
Maybe.
I mean, it was literally. It was everywhere, and it was quite inexpensive. And these foreign governments were involved in the fishing practices, and what they almost decimated the species through some phenomenal conservation efforts. They have been able to allow the species to regenerate, and there's even talks that NOAA is taking it off their endangered list as well. And they've done that simply by hurting people in the purse. So years ago they would fine them, and $10,000, $20,000, which was nothing. Now, if you're caught fishing in illegal waters and catch fish, you lose your boat. Just to put that into perspective, these boats are factories on the water. So there's schools and hospitals, and this is a massive. So you lose that boat, and the guy who rats you out, which could be one of the guys working on the boat, he gets $1 million. So very easy. So now it's very easy to catch people once you make it painful enough for them. So that being said, not to go off on a rant.
But that's okay, because this is interesting, because it seems like the whole industry has really been just ruined. It's hard to know what's good to eat. You think, or the food fraud that goes on in fish markets, where you think you're buying one thing.
I have to stop you right there. The food fraud is not in fish markets. It is in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, it's a sushi place.
Restaurant, but what about grocery stores?
Well, I mean, I don't think, and I say this respectfully, I don't think that supermarkets know what they're getting.
That's true. So they're not the ones committing the fraud, right? The
crime is the chef that's buying an item like basa and selling it for red snapper,
right?
And a heavy garlic sauce, and with with 3 glasses of Pinot in you, are you really going to be able to tell the difference? I could, do you know what I mean? But for most of the public,
the average person is not going to.
Now the average person, and quite frankly, so now you're talking about a $28 entree that really should have been a $12 entree. So when someone says to me, "Oh, I got a red snapper for $12," I said, I respectfully tell you did not.
Right. I recently bought some fish from. I go to the Asian market in North Wales called Assi or Asai. I don't know how to pronounce it. ASSI.
Okay.
And great market, but they had flounder on sale for $2.99 a pound. So of course I wanted to buy a bunch. I eat a lot of fish.
Sure.
So I bought a bunch of it and I freeze it.
Right.
And I ate it. It's not flounder.
Right. Well,
it's not.
Again,
and I know, it was almost obviously not flounder.
Right.
How dare they?
It's mystery fish.
It was mystery fish.
Right. But that's the thing. What I'm saying is that should be criminal.
It should be.
It should. I mean, listen. I mean, if I sell you a car that has 150,000 miles on it, and I switch the odometer back so it has 75, that's a crime. So fraud should be a crime, and especially on the consumption of food. I mean, what if you had a food allergy, or what if you had some sort of adversity to a product? It's a crime. So getting back to flatfish, there are many different flatfish that they call flounder. In my store, we will tell you exactly what we cut off the bone that morning, because we cut it off the bone that morning. And to your point, there are no bargains. It was $2.99. Listen, maybe it was a great $2.99 fish. But it was
for $2.99. It was fine. It tasted fine, but it wasn't flounder.
But it wasn't flounder.
Yeah,
that's the point. But it's getting back to the fraud in the industry. It only helps my business, because people begin to realize that there really are no bargains. You can buy cheaper flatfish, but for example, you could buy a cheaper Chilean sea bass, but you can't buy the one I'm selling today cheaper. And if you bought it for $1 a pound cheaper, and I'm bringing it all the way out from the Bronx to Lebanon, New Jersey, I'm okay with that. I'm okay making $1 extra because I brought it out there, as opposed to what someone would charge in Chinatown. But like I said.
Now, what about farm raised versus wild? Do you sell any fish that's farm raised?
Absolutely, we do, and we make sure that the farms adhere to certain practices. No antibiotics, no hormones. Otherwise, I won't carry it.
Color enhanced?
Absolutely is a big difference. We won't take coloring fish. We get farm-raised fish, for example, the salmon. We haven't had regular farm-raised salmon. When I say regular, I'm doing quotes in the air, probably in 10 years. So we buy organic salmon from Ireland and Scotland, and also the Faroe Islands. These fish, no antibiotics, no hormones. They're luscious, they're fatty, and have the same nutritional benefits as a wild fish. And like I said, if you're going to be eating fish, again, is a farm raised, is a quote unquote regular farm raised salmon a bad product? Absolutely not. Is it better than eating, a BLT or fried bologna sandwich? For your health, of course it's better. It's still going to have high in omega-3 fatty acids, but if you're going to make the effort, why would you put the antibiotics and hormones into your body?
Right, I don't want that.
Right. Well, and that's the thing with a lot of these farms, and unfortunately, a lot of the farms out of Asia have the biggest problems. Certain drugs will show up, they'll ban them off the list, they'll stop using them for a while. We personally don't carry anything farmed from that area, but that's not a political decision. That's just a decision based on what I want put into my consumers, into my clients, plates that night. So I don't want to deal with that. But even the farm trout that we carry are right up the street from the Muskie trout hatchery, and my buddy Vern pulls them out of the water, and we bring them back to the store. And if you go to Per Se in New York tonight, you're going to have the exact same trout, because I'm the one who introduced the chef there, the sous chef, to the farm out in what is that up there? Asbury, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, it's fun. It's fun for us to procure these things for our clients, and yeah, we probably are a little bit embarrassed by the amount of pride that we have for the product. But why not? You know, that's one of my biggest pet peeves of small business owners today. If you don't dig it, get out. You know, because, especially if you're in retail, because if you walk in and you don't feel that big welcome hug, you know, you got to think about, you know, retail especially. Here you're coming in, you're coming off the street, you're making a special trip to my store. You know, we better be knowledgeable and almost boastful on the product, you know.
Right.
Do you take special orders for certain kinds of fish for
Absolutely.
holidays and stuff
Oh
of
my
that
goodness,
nature?
absolutely, yeah. We're coming up to our biggest holiday. I mean, this is our Super Bowl, which is the Christmas holiday. I mean, we have phenomenal seasons, the summer season for grilling and so on and so forth. But Christmas is a full-on slamma-jamma, as we say in the biz. But it's quite, you know, it's fun to do. My workers look forward to it.
The whole Feast of the Seven Fishes?
Yeah, you do a lot of the
Yes,
seven fishes.
absolutely. I'm married to a lovely Sicilian woman who has educated me on that. Actually, originally started off with 13 courses representing the 12 apostles and Jesus, and then it went to 12 courses, and now mostly parts of Sicily and the lower end of the boot, as they say, that celebrate this. But it's extraordinary. And what I found interesting, in the last 3 or 4 years, it's making a resurgence. That as one generation it faded off, the younger people are really trying to get in touch with their culture. And I say younger, I'm talking about in their 20s, and say, you know what, I just don't want to have 7 different fish. Mark, can you tell me how to make bacala? Show me how to fry eels. And we love it. I mean, that stuff, I mean, frying eels to me, you know, that's the home run.
I think most people would shy away from frying eels.
Listen, don't come to my house if that shies you away.
No, I love eating them. I just don't know how to cook them.
Oh, I'll show you how to do them. They're phenomenal.
Do you have the eels live, like in Chinatown?
Yeah,
swimming around.
Yeah, we get them. No,
that freaks me out.
No, I mean, customers don't want to see that portion, but you have to buy them live. Like you can't.
Right.
It's one of those things where, for example, lobster and crab, you have to buy live because once the crab or lobster dies, a deterioration process happens.
So you don't think the customer you don't put them out like in a bucket like they do in Chinatown?
No.
Like
no.
you open
slop
one
bucket on the
there's a bunch
floor?
of frogs in there.
I'm as a half Lebanese Slovak fishmonger, I'm about as exotic as my clients want to see in the store. They don't even see live eels. You know what I mean? But it's once in a while. I mean, listen, they like it, but it's. Again, it's one of those things that we have to do. I mean, but things like bacala and snails, you should eat them. My goodness, they're so good. And you know, and things like sardines. If everyone in the world ate sardines tomorrow, we could not clean up the ocean. They're so plentiful. They're so sustainable. They are one of the highest omega-3 fatty acids, and they are delicious.
Yeah. I always order that in Ironbound.
You just fry them whole, right?
Fry
a
them,
little bit
grill
of
them.
down in Newark, they have that on
flour
special, and they're not little tiny ones like you see in the. They're nice big fish,
my God,
and
gorgeous.
they grill them and just simple grilling and a little bit of oil and vinegar on it.
Yeah, even my son ate one. My son is the fussiest eater, and we were shocked. He ate
was
the
eating
whole
something
sardine.
fried. There was some kind of a very small fish that looked like French fries. That's what he was eating.
Oh, maybe smelts.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe
yes.
it was smelt.
But either way, it's all good. I mean, we're not meant to eat just fillet. Fillet is lovely.
Oh yeah.
But a whole sardine, and again, it's so good for you, and just it really gets you back to what we're here about. And these men and women who fish these oceans, tremendous.
Okay, and we do have to go to break. So we didn't get to the story, but we're going to do that this time. I promise.
I promise.
We got 2 more breaks, so.
Okay.
All right, we will be right back.
The Biggie Duets. Jazzy Fizzle. Jagged Edge.
Biggie Smalls.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I go on and on and on and don't take them to the crib unless they want. Easy, call them on the phone and platinum Chanel cologne and I stay dressed to impress.
So, Mark, I'm just, because this is a hard way of life to get that fresh fish every day. What does your day look like? Do you get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and drive into New York?
I get up. I actually leave my store at midnight. So we get into New York about at 1:15. We do our buying. The system is such that you buy and the journeyman brings it back to your truck, and then I come back and I unload. Come back to Jersey. We unload the fish. My guys come in. I usually I literally park the truck, wait for my guys to come in at 7 o'clock. Usually there's an hour gap. Then they start breaking it down and cutting the fish and putting the orders together and getting it ready for the day, cutting specials.
So you don't sleep at all, basically.
Yeah, where do you sleep?
I sleep about 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm not a big sleeper. Once a month, though, I will get up and I will never leave my pajamas. And I will literally watch movies all day, something very tender, hopefully. I like warmities, which are warm comedies. And I will literally just get, there are certain days of the month I will just crash out, but I've never needed a lot of sleep. I am a fantastic napper. I could nap. If
You're a power napper.
If you said to me right now, Mark, we have a half hour, I'm going to say, I just need a little chair, and I can fall asleep, no problem. I'll wake up and ready to go. So so if you really are into that little crazy thing of 8 hours of sleep, this is not a good gig for you. Thankfully, I don't need that, and it's been, like I said, it's worked out great for me, and I love, and over the years, if you would have came into my store 25 years ago, you would have saw a fresh-faced, cherub-looking boy cutting fish for you. I don't cut as much fish as I used to because I have this crew of men that. But one of the things I would never give up is going to the market. That is the one thing that is mine and only mine, and I will only give that up.
The joy of discovery.
Get discovery and picking it out, and some people tell me I have a gift. I don't believe that. I'm just a chubby kid that wants to eat something good. So that's why I pick out really wonderful things. So you always want me to pick it out for you.
Now let's talk about your catering a little bit.
Yes.
Because, well, first let's start off with: did you have time to think about what was your worst catering?
I do have one
Okay.
in mind, and it was actually a wedding. And if the people are listening, they'll know this. And this was very new. We were probably, I don't think we were even 5 years into this Metropolitan Seafood experiment. And a couple of our clients called us up, and we start doing the catering. And I have a really great crew. And this one particular individual, and I won't name him or her as a man or a woman, but they were working the grill, and it was I remember, a very involved menu, and she wanted pork and chicken. Incidentally, for our catering, we actually do everything.
Yes, I wanted to also emphasize you don't just do seafood,
No,
you do
for
the
catering,
whole gamut. Yeah,
whatever it is.
Right.
We do stick to our forte, which is kind of what I like to call casual, horn of plenty. It's just a lot of Mediterranean inspired foods that are kind of hug your mouth a little bit, and I think that's But anyway, so we're rocking and rolling this wedding. We're about halfway through it, and all of a sudden, the last table's about to get served, and someone says they ran out of meat, this pork and beef dish, and it wasn't that far from the store. I remember getting in my car and literally putting it to the floor. I mean, I swear to God,
been there, Mark.
So listen, I mean, I'm now.
Did you pop a Xanax before you?
No, I didn't pop a Xanax, but I did pee my pants a little bit. So I get there, we throw it on. The client didn't know, the table did know. I found out later that the grill person burned some items and never told me.
Oh, yeah.
And that person no longer has ever worked for us again. But I'll never forget the lesson, because I went to the client's house the next day, and I went to settle up, and I had said to them, listen, I know your last table, there was 8 of them, didn't get served in a timely fashion. And they did get what they wanted. I says that I'm fully prepared to not get paid for today. And
for the whole, you offered for the whole bill?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, you're a better man than I am.
No, I'm just heavier. But honestly, I literally, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up. And she looked at me and she goes, "Are you out of your mind?" And I thought she was going to tell me that I thought she wanted me to do something else besides that. It's not a big deal. She's, can you just give them like lobster dinner for 2 certificates they can use?
Well, you were blessed with a reasonable client, because there are some that would have not been so gracious.
But you know what? But again, here's the thing. Here's what I thought, and what I've always thought is that, okay, so I didn't want to take that financial loss, of course, but by doing that, he or she could have never said anything bad about me. Because you imagine if that person was telling the story to their friend, and then their friend says, and then what happened? And then she says, well, he reimbursed the entire wedding. And then the other one goes, what the hell's wrong with you? You know, I mean, literally, I mean, you're just nasty. I mean, the guy how could you possibly complain? So it literally, I neutralized that client. And like I said, listen, we make mistakes. It's so much, I don't want to ever give someone the opportunity. Listen, anybody can say come to my store and say, wow, it's really expensive. But you can't say you got bad fish. And you can't say my clients, or excuse me, my staff wasn't absolutely oozing over you.
Right.
You know, so right. I'm cool with that, you know. But it's definitely, like I said, I mean, there's many more little, you have, you know, when you get in the weeds, and that's an expression used in the business where you don't think you're going to make it in time. Where I've done parties where we're rolling sushi and we're ready to leave for the party, and I'm nowhere near done, and I had no intentions of putting myself on the job. And next thing I know, I'm doing a sushi kind of a demonstration for the clients, and you know they think it's part of the show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
always make them believe that it was intentional.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do that right now.
Always make them believe that this is the way it's supposed to be.
I do that in my marriage. Doesn't always work, but you know, my wife is very smart, so she realized I'm really full of it. But no, it's absolutely true. Like I said,
it's funny. Well, again, I'll touch on something that we talked about last week. We have a friend who does great open fire paella.
Okay.
And he's from Colombia.
Okay.
And he's real character.
I'd love to meet him.
And yeah, you maybe you will. His name is Jorge. I don't know if we'll ever get him on the show, but he has another full-time job. But he does this whole show, you know, for friends. He has these, the big pan, the fire pit.
Right.
He uses wood fire, and he said, you have to have confidence. And if something screws up, you tell them that's the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly. Oh, no question.
And they will believe you.
I do cooking demonstrations all the time. So I
got one coming up. I need some advice.
When I'm doing live demonstrations, and I do them all the time for our clients, and we do them for charitable organizations, and every once in a while something will happen. And you got to roll with it. But it's also teaching them that it's okay to mess up. I mean, even with the recipes that we have on the website. I mean, we have over 1,200 now on the one website. And, like I said, it's I tell people, listen, I don't even want my clients to learn a recipe. I want them to learn a technique that makes them feel comfortable in the kitchen, that they can apply to other fish and other things in the kitchen.
Right.
So to learn a recipe is great, but if I could teach them how to pan sear or braise or poach, and then they could, kind of get that their own little chef kitchen swagger on, I'm into that.
Right.
I mean, so.
Yeah, I have a demo coming up. I'm doing a cooking demo at the Taste of Hunterdon event.
Okay.
And so my thing is hors d'oeuvres, frozen hors d'oeuvres that you can do ahead of time for the holidays.
Okay.
So the one thing, thinking of things that could go wrong, is the phyllo dough.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I can check the phyllo dough before I go. Because sometimes when it doesn't work out, when it's stuck together, and that's usually, 90% of the time when I get it, it's pretty good. But once in a while, you get a box that just...
Which brand do you buy?
Athenos?
I think that's the good one.
Maybe that's the good one. I have had pretty good luck with it.
You have to let it relax, obviously, in the refrigerator.
Absolutely. But have you ever gotten one that's like, it's so bad, it's like half of them are stuck together?
Yeah, I throw it against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I'd throw the whole thing in the deep fryer and eat it. I put powdered sugar on it. I'm like, what are you doing, Mark? I'm making little phyllo dough treats. You never seen a fat guy eat sugar?
But that's a good idea. Chop it up and put it in the deep fryer.
Yeah, I just start crying. It's horrible. Yeah, and when you got to, we like, even stupid things like spanakopita we make ourselves, which I'm sure you do as well.
Right.
And, you're working along, and all of a sudden the phyllo dough starts sticking together, and then you start crying. And that's not cool in the kitchen. There's no crying in there. And you're like, oh, I only have 400 more to go, and I'm cool. You know what I mean? It's like,
and that was this is the last box, but
yeah, no, it's always the last box.
It's always the last box.
It's the last box or whatever it may be.
Oh yeah, we'll just make it. I love that.
Yeah.
We'll just make the phyllo triangles on site.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah. I don't even make out on site anymore. But no, it's very good. But it's one of those things. Like I said, you get in the weeds in the kitchen. And, you think the world's going to end. And really, I have to say, 98% of the time, it really works out beautifully. Now,
it does. But you know what I have to say about being in the weeds, and I haven't worked the line in a restaurant for a long time.
Okay.
But I remember it, and I love that stress in a way. I love that, where you're just like, come on, do it, go.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
it's fun.
Well,
chaos is fun.
See, you like that. I like that. I have broken some people. I've been
That's
called,
a short order cook right there.
Yeah, I've been called the Great Santini a couple of times during a rush, and I only bounced a basketball off his head once.
All right, we got to go to one more break, just one more break, and then we're going to talk some more about Metropolitan Seafood. And welcome back to Food for Thought. Kind of just scooted by that one. Almost messed up, but not quite. Now we're here again with Mark Drabick from Metropolitan Seafood. And I wanted to talk about, we were talking during the break about your affinity for second marriages as opposed to doing weddings for first marriages.
The first marriages, there is an expectation and a level of tautness to the situation that it's really
if it rains, it's your fault, pretty much.
Right, if it does rain, but I do charge extra for sunny days, so I don't mind. Getting
I've done weddings for years, working for myself, working for other people, and it is, first of all, they're spending a ridiculous amount of money. Many times they can't afford it, but they do it anyway.
Right,
it's the most important day of their lives,
up
and
to that point,
the stress. I just don't think there's anything that can be. Once in a while, you get a client that's really cool, But,
right. But the second wedding, as I said to you before, is about the celebration.
Yeah, I love that. I would love to only do second weddings.
Literally, they're there and they want you to witness the kooky thing that they're going to do again, and it's about the food and it's about the music and because really, it's really not about the bride and groom. The masses, or the ceremony is. Right. But the party is about you sharing this thing for people with your closest people. Listen, come and celebrate with me, and it's going to get out of hand, and I hope you're going to be into it. But that's what I love about it. That's what's great about that second wedding thing, and because you appreciate that the first time around it was too tense, and you really didn't remember it. You know what I mean? I have no plan on ever doing that again. My first wedding was lovely, Denise. That's my wife. And I will never, ever have another party for that. And I just celebrated 25 years of marriage also.
Very nice.
With my business.
Very nice.
But, and that, like I said, it's just, that's our client. Our catering was originally developed just for our clients. But then it's bled out to the general public. People, so it was just our clients that really used us, and it was just for them. So we wanted to have something. We wanted to have your fish there, and so on and so forth. And then little by little, people hear about it. But it's
so how much catering do you do in relation to the rest of your business?
Oh, it's probably a little less than a third of our business.
Okay. Is that where you want it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the new location, the growth. We're always going to sell fish, and first and foremost, that's what we are. We are a premier fish market, hands down. There's no, this is part of our model. This is part of our business credo. So that's very important. But the catering is something that we do because we like to do it, and our clients like it. And it is very different. So we do, and I know everyone says this, but we do make everything from its genesis. Right. And a lot of people say that, and what I'm talking about. People say, "Oh, I make this myself." Well, no, you didn't. but I'm saying
I have brought up before on one show. I talk about I've worked for a lot of other caterers as well, and you would be shocked to find out these high-end companies are using a frozen hors d'oeuvre that they got from a purveyor.
Absolutely, and the only thing
we could name some names on that.
Let's not.
But I will tell you one thing: every once in a while, a client will ask for pigs in a blanket.
Do you make them? I won't make them.
Well, I will tell you one thing. I did try to make them one time. Not only did I try to make them, I didn't make the hot dog, but I did make the dough. And I'm wrapping them around, and I'm like, and I'm putting them in the oven, and they were horrible.
I know, exactly.
I mean, it was horrible. It was work. I mean, on a 75-cent item, I said, listen, I called the clients, listen, let you know I'm not. She said, oh, I don't care. I did find a very, very good brand. That was, I mean,
certain things I wouldn't bother, Mark.
Right.
Certain things I would not bother. And a pigs in a blanket are one of them.
That was the only one. I mean, I even made the mustard, for God's sakes. I mean, but
Right.
and I was like, and I couldn't. And these little hot
I think
dogs.
Deirdre mentioned egg rolls or spring rolls, right? Are too much trouble.
I still make spring rolls.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's not, again that. But we make different. Like we'll make like a shrimp and sausage spring roll, or we'll make a broccoli rabe.
What kind of wrapper?
I'll use wontons.
Wontons.
I like only the small ones. We just use the smaller ones for literally for parties. I mean, we're not doing all out Asian. We're not. It's really a fusion. It's a Mediterranean fusion. That
Right.
we do.
It's very good food.
You know, it's
Very good food. Let's talk a little bit, because your shop, for anybody who's not been there, not only has this phenomenal fish, but you have a really extensive takeout.
Yes,
and a very affordable, I have to say.
Thank you.
The price point on your takeout is very, very good.
Yes.
And the quality is very high.
Thank you.
You also have some cheeses. The last time
we have only local cheeses.
Cheeses.
We have been so blessed that the lovely folks at the Valley Shepherd Creamery and the Bobolink Dairy in Milford allow us to sell their cheeses, and they allow very few people to do that. And and they know that we're going to take care of their product. So if you come into the store and you're looking for a Humboldt Fog, we're not going to have that, but we are going to have the Creme de Bleu, which will literally blow your mind. One of the second best cheeses this year again.
What's the price per pound?
32.
32.
And it's phenomenal. But I mean, it's made locally. The caved aged cheddar from the Bobolink Dairy, I mean, you can literally taste grass and milk and sun. And this is a product, and I'm not doing a commercial for Jonathan. He doesn't need any more, but it's he doesn't feed the cows grain. He doesn't feed them when they come in. When they come in, he milks them. They eat grass. They stay outside, and it's phenomenal. And in the second year at the farm, the cheese is even better. Because where the cows have fertilized the year before, it's even making a richer nutrients in the grass and producing better milk and hence better cheese. But in the store we do, as you just said, fresh fish, all different kinds. You would be blinded by the amount of fish, whether import and domestic. We usually have anywhere from 10 to 12 different oysters on hand at one time. And
That's impressive.
We probably shuck about 90% of them. So if you don't feel like shucking oysters, we are mother shuckers. We will do that for you, and we'll put them on a bed of ice, and you can take them home, and you can have a real raw
mother
bar.
Shuckers.
That's
what reminds me. When Denise Brinkman is, when she comes back, we're going to figure out a way. I would like to disguise as many curse words with food substitutes. Like what the fig.
Yeah, right.
Mother shuckers.
Right. Shut the fluke up.
Shut the fluke up. Fluke you.
But anyway, it's carrying the oysters, clams, which we all shuck. We only carry wild shrimp. We don't carry any farm-raised shrimp. It makes a big difference in that crunchiness of the shrimp. And again,
heads on.
Both.
Okay.
Most clients don't want. They want the heads off.
I've been cooking for so many years, but recently I made a shrimp stock out of the shrimp with
shells.
the shells with the heads.
Yep.
I don't normally.
Yep.
What a difference!
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
Oh my God! I thought, how
Mark,
many
when
years
you order
have I not
fish in a
been
restaurant,
doing?
you keep the head on, right?
Yes,
I knew it.
And the very few times I actually do order fish, but I always do keep the absolutely.
Oh, it's so much better with the head.
Oh, I agree 100%. I do have to mention, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the website, which is
please do.
Which is metroseafood.com. And there is literally over 1,200 recipes. I wrote them all. And we send out 4 new ones every single week. And I will warn you now, there are wise-ass jokes in the emails. If you don't like the email, you unsubscribe. I make it one clear. If you unsubscribe, you can never get back on the list again. Oh, I'm dead serious. I mean, and we
threatening your
no. It's not. We have over 7,000
email
people.
threats.
I take it so. Listen, I take it so seriously that you allow me into your already full inbox. That we feel obligated to give you original recipes, original comedy. And you'll see. I mean, like I said, we have over 7,000 people. It's 100% volunteer. We never pull pull an email from anywhere unless it's given to us.
And you can
either
just
on the
subscribe
website.
right on your website for that?
You go right to the website, metroseafood.com, and you can subscribe to that.
Do you have fried calamari on your menu?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
But I will tell you something about my fried calamari. Remember, we're a takeout restaurant. Okay, so
I know. Okay, I know what you're going to say.
The best fried calamari to me is egg, flour into the fryer. It's actually flour, egg, flour, then into the fryer. But there's a couple different salt and pepper dropped in on a plate. Eat it. Wonderful. That same calamari put into a box and brought home becomes sad.
Right.
It does. It does
It's
not.
like French
it does
fries,
not
they don't travel.
well. It
Right.
does not travel.
So-
But don't you think it helps if you let it come to room temperature without the lid on?
You're talking about the fried calamari.
Fried calamari, the
that
finished
particular,
product.
That particular method, no. That particular
No.
method only works when you eat it out of the. I mean, literally drain it in paper towel and eat it. We have come up with a coating that we've kind of obviously put together ourselves with cornmeal and a little panko, and that will stay crunchy. And again, it
travels.
It travels. It stays
Wow.
crunchy, but is it?
You've reinvented the wheel then.
Well, it's not reinvented. It's just that you have to do it because obviously clients take it home and it gets all soggy. So this.
Oh, yeah,
And
'cause
you
the
serve
steam-
tentacles, right?
The steam ruins it.
Absolutely.
Please, because
Yeah.
I've met several shows. If you're a restaurant and you don't serve the tentacles, you're dead to me.
Yeah, if not dead. At
I'm
least.
highly suspicious if they don't have the tentacles in
Please,
there.
it's
Yeah.
so silly. But a lot of
There's
we're in
probably
Hunterdon
some
County.
frozen bag
there's
product.
a lot
Right,
of places
right.
that don't serve the tentacles, and
How
it
dare
really
you.
enrages
How
me.
dare you, Deidre?
Enrages me.
She literally has a
Now
hand,
listen.
there's a fist pump over the air.
We've got 1 minute, so again, tell the
Metropolitan Seafood and Gourmet and Route 22 in Lebanon, New Jersey, and that's metroseafood.com.
And the hours?
We are open every day except for Monday. We're open 9 to 7 Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday from 9 to 4, and closed on Mondays. That's the only day you have to eat meat.
And it sounds like the early morning is the best time to get the best selection.
Yeah, or call. We'll put anything aside for you. Everything's
Beautiful.
unconditional.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having me.
Mark,
I really
very
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you.
We'll be in soon, and thanks everybody. We will see you next week.
Food for thought.